tonight's quick and easy dinner, I'm having sheet pan fajitas. So what I'm starting off with is Butler soy curls. If you're not familiar with soy curls, it's basically just dried soybeans, and this is totally optional. You can use just more mushrooms or more vegetables. You could use tofu, whatever you prefer, but the soy curls make a great fajita filling. So for the sheet pan fajitas, I have these, and this is what they look like. They come completely dried out, so you need to rehydrate them. So in my bowl, I just have a little bit of veggie stock, and I'm going to let these hydrate back up while I chop all of my vegetables. So in with my veggie stock, I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of low sodium soy sauce. You could also use liquid aminos or tamari. So I am just making enough for me, but if you were doing this for a family style meal, you could just double these amounts. This is a great family style meal. You can put it on a large sheet pan and it's done in about 20 to 30 minutes. So I'm just going to sink those down in the marinade there, and they'll just kind of hang out while I chop my veggies. So for my veggies that are going in my fajitas, I have tricolored bell peppers. This little organic guy, I mean, there's a big difference. I don't know what's going on, but these were not organic and this one was. So I try to buy organic when it's available and if it is not too outrageous and when it looks fresh. So otherwise, you know, you have to do what you have to do. Sometimes it's not perfect. You can't get 100% organic. So having non-organic versus organic, I'd rather have the organic. But if it's not available, I still want to eat my fresh fruits and vegetables. Just make sure you wash them thoroughly and you're going to be okay, I promise. It's better off than not eating them at all. So I have a red bell pepper, a green bell pepper, a yellow bell pepper, a large yellow onion, and I like this for fajitas because they're super sweet. And here in the South, it's easy to get Vidalia onions, which are the sweetest. I have some green onion, I have a clove of garlic, a few mushrooms, and some frozen broccoli. I'm not a fan of chopping up broccoli and cauliflower, and it's always super fresh and convenient to have in the freezer, and it's not expensive. So when it comes to broccoli and cauliflower, unless I'm making like a fresh salad or something like that, I prefer to just use the frozen there. So I'm going to get all of this chopped up, and then we'll be ready to go in the oven, and it'll be that easy, that quick. All right, so I have my peppers chopped up, and I did decide I'm also going to add a zucchini to this. That sounded really good, some more veggie yumminess. And I am just setting aside about half of what I'm chopping for later, just a meal prep for that. And I just wanted to show you what I do with my green onions. So these you can soak in water and they will regrow more green. But what I like to do with them is I just take them just like this and I go pop them in the garden here and there. And I have unlimited green onions pretty much all summer. So just gonna chop this clove of garlic. I didn't smash that very well. Let me try again. There we go. Just going to give that a rough chop. Set that aside for compost. These are going to be so good and loaded with veggies. And my mushrooms, the small ones, will just get a chop in half. I don't want those to overcook. They're all pretty small, so I think I'll just give them a chop in half. And these I have just wiped off with a damp paper towel. I don't like to run them under water because I think they get soggy and mushy when you do that. And for the green onion, I'm just going to chop the white parts, most of the white part here, and save most of the greens for eating fresh on top of my fajitas with a little bit of cilantro. So we'll set aside some of this zucchini too. All right, so everything is chopped up, and I just want to show you what I'm using for seasoning mix. We'll just put this together real quick. I have some mushroom umami powder, and I'm going to use about this is about a tablespoon. I'm just going to mix up enough for now and some for later. So we'll have about a tablespoon of each of these. And I like to pre-mix it and kind of mix it together before I season my food. That way it's more evenly distributed. And I have some smoked paprika, a little bit of ground coriander, and I forgot to get out the cumin, so I'm going to have to get that too. And I have some hot Mexican chili powder. You can use whatever chili powder you prefer, but I like my food to be spicy, so I like the hot. All right, let me grab the cumin and onion powder. That's what I forgot to get out. Okay, so onion powder. We are going to be needing some of that soon. Some cumin, which we go through a lot of also. And you could just use a pre-mixed fajita seasoning packet here if you wanted to, but I have all of these spices on hand, so, and I like to mix it myself because I think they put too much filler and too much salt in the pre-packaged ones, and also I like mine to be a little bit spicier and have a little bit more cumin powder in it. And I'm also going to put some tahini. This is a lime chili flavored salt, and it is delicious. And since I don't have any fresh lime juice, I'm going in with about a tablespoon of that too. Since I don't have any fresh lime juice today, this will be exactly what we need. So I'm just going to give this a mix up. All right, and we're just going to load everything on our sheet pan. If I can manage to do this without making a huge mess. I probably should have gotten out a little bit bigger of a sheet pan, but that's okay. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. I way overestimated the size of the sheet pan, or underestimated the size of the vegetables. Let me get a larger pan. All right, so I've swapped out for a larger pan, just because, you know, you want your vegetables to roast and brown up. You don't want them to steam. So I've got my veggies all laid out here, and I'm going to put my soy curls on top. And you just want to kind of give these a little bit of a squeeze so it's not too watery, so it's not steaming the veggies. But you don't want to like wring their necks out or anything. You want them to stay nice and moist and tender. So we'll go on top with these. And while I was swapping out for a larger sheet pan, I just turned my oven on broil. So this will go super quick and easy. I'm just going to evenly that wasn't very even. Just going to sprinkle this all around, get it nice and seasoned up. And I'm going to save about half of this for Tony, because I think he's going to use these other vegetables and have himself a carnivore style fajita. I may have mentioned before, he's not vegan and he'll usually eat what I eat, but since I'm prepping all these veggies, I think he has a piece of meat over there he's going to have with his. And you know, sometimes we have to make adjustments like that. If you're cooking family meals, maybe not everybody in the family is vegan or plant-based, but you can still meal prep a large batch of veggies for everybody to share, because the way I look at it, even if he's not vegan or other family members aren't vegan, you still want to you still want to encourage them to eat as many vegetables and healthy things as possible too. So I'm going to get this in the oven on broil, and it will probably take about 10 minutes at the most, and I'll flip everything around a couple times during that. Okay, everything is nice and hot and toasty. We got a little bit of color on everything. It smells amazing too. I cannot wait to eat this. I'm so hungry. So let me show you what I have to go on top of my fajita. I have just a spinach wrap here. You can use any kind of tortilla or do without the tortilla, or have it in a lettuce cup like romaine or butter lettuce would be good. But to go on top, I have a little bit of fresh cilantro, my greens from my green onions, some avocado, and some sprouts. And I also have a little bit of my favorite extra spicy salsa. So what I like to do is I kind of tear off a piece of tortilla and eat it as I go. So this is how I like to plate mine. You could wrap it up burrito style. That's fine. This would make great burritos to go in the freezer or refrigerator for meal prep. I just want to make sure I get some of everything on here. It looks so good, and I'm going to have a lot of leftovers, which is nice. I'll probably eat this again for lunch tomorrow. So I just have a little bit of everything on there, and I'll put some avocado, some green onion, and some cilantro. And I'll put that whole pile of sprouts there because I'll eat that, like I said, as I go. Okay. This is going to be delicious. I really hope you check it out. You can use whatever veggies you like, whatever kind of protein you want to put on here. This is just a super quick and easy weeknight meal idea. Right on a sheet pan, you can make as much for one person, meal prep it for a few days. You could even roll them up burrito style, put them in the freezer, and have them for a couple of weeks. You can make it for one, or you can make it for a large family. So really versatile. Just give it a try. Today is one of those days I do not feel like cooking. We all have those days, right? Busy day, long day. So I am going to make something really quick and really easy, like most of my meals, but everybody loves a pasta. So when you don't feel like cooking or you don't have a lot of time, pasta is great. You can make it as simple or as complicated as you like. I'm going to make it pretty simple tonight. I'm going to make a zucchini spaghetti with sun-dried tomatoes. And what I'm starting with, first of all, is the garnish. I like to make a little extra of this and have it on hand. This is just a piece of bread that I toasted up and put in the little mini blender to grind into breadcrumbs. So instead of Parmesan and all that fat and unnecessary oil and all that, this is just dried breadcrumbs, okay? And to that, I am going to add a tablespoon of nutritional yeast, a tablespoon of hemp seed, and about half a teaspoon of crushed red pepper. And some fresh chopped parsley. I chopped it up a little bit already, but I want it pretty fine on there for the garnish. So that's our garnish. Just going to, I think I have a spoon down here. I do. Just going to give that a stir and set it aside while we get our pasta going. And for the ingredients for the pasta, I have here some beautiful fresh basil. This is growing in a pot right on my front porch. If you didn't know, basil in the summertime is one of the easiest things to grow. This and mint and cilantro, if you like those herbs, you should grow them. They're super easy, very tasty. You can put them in a pot in a sunny spot on the front porch. And actually basil, you don't even have to have full sun all day. It'll grow almost anywhere. Okay, so we have our basil. I'm going to chop up a little bit of this yellow onion. I have 2 cloves of garlic, 1 decent sized zucchini, and a couple of tomatoes, a large one and a small one, and some spaghetti noodles. And I also have some Italian seasoning mix, which has oregano, dried basil, and what else do they put in there in Italian seasoning? Oregano, basil. I'm not sure, I'd have to look. But there's that, and that's all of our ingredients. That's all we need, just a few things, and dinner will be ready in the time that it takes us to chop up the onion and garlic and zucchini and boil the spaghetti, so maybe 15 minutes. So I've got all my veggies chopped up. I've got my tomato roughly chopped, and I've left all the juicy seeds and juice in the tomato because that's going to make up the majority of our sauce. And I have my onion and my garlic pretty finely chopped. And the sun-dried tomatoes, they come already in these kind of little strips. And this is the kind that come in the package, not the ones packed in oil. You could use the ones packed in oil if you prefer, but I like to keep things, for the most part, oil-free. Just added fat, I think, in my opinion, that we really don't need in every meal. So let me show you my super sneaky way. We're going to get some extra veggies into our spaghetti. And this is a good trick, too, if you have picky kids or a picky husband. Buy one of these things. I'll put a link in the description. It's just a spiralizer. You can get them at Walmart. Most grocery stores now have them. And you can spiralize anything: zucchini, carrots, butternut squash is good. Cucumbers for a cucumber salad is really tasty. And it just comes out in noodle form. And there, on this one, you can slice it 3 different ways. So our water is to a boil. I'm just going to add some salt. If you're salt-free, if you're salt, oil and sugar-free, salt-free, you don't have to add salt here. But I'm adding about a teaspoon of salt. You want your pasta water to be salted, really, or your pasta is going to be very bland. And if you are low sodium, you can check out some of the low sodium alternatives. There's some really good ones out there now. All right, I'm just going to go in with my pasta. And there is a sharp blade at the end of this, so when you get down there, use the guard, but I'm not there yet. It's kind of like a mandolin. You want to pay attention. When you get close, use the guard because it is sharp. I have a horrible, terrible story regarding my middle son and a mandolin. I actually watched him chop off the end of his finger. It was very traumatic for both of us. And now I'm terrified of mandolins. So it actually like triggers a trauma response when I watch somebody on YouTube or on a cooking show use a mandolin. I'm terrified for them when they're using it without the guard. So yeah, traumatic experience there. Okay, look at all that lovely zucchini noodles. And I And just going to throw those right in with the pasta. You can eat these raw. You can make a raw pasta with the zucchini noodles too. But we're going to cook it tonight, and it's all just going to cook in there together. Okay, and while our pasta and our zucchini cook, we'll get our veggies cooked for the sauce. And I'm just going in first with my chopped onion, and I have about a third of a cup of chopped onion. I'm making enough pasta for 2 people, but you could easily double or triple this recipe if you're making it for a family. Like I said, this is a great meal for kids. Kids love spaghetti. Kids love pasta, really, of any kind. It's been my experience. And this is a great way to get some veggies in there for them with the zucchini. So I'm not using any oil to saute these either. I'm just going to use a little splash of water, and those will cook down. We're going to just cook these until they're just a little bit tender, and we'll add our tomatoes, garlic, and spices. I'm just going to go in with all of our juicy tomatoes. And it took about 2 or 3 minutes is all for the onions to cook down. So we'll go in with our tomatoes and our chopped garlic. That's 2 cloves of chopped garlic. Oh, yeah, that smells good already. And our Italian seasoning. And I looked at the bottle, y'all. I was curious when I didn't know what all went into the Italian seasoning I have here. It has basil, oregano, fennel, thyme, sage, marjoram, and savory. So lots of spice in there. All right, and I'm just going to hit this with a little fresh cracked black pepper. And this will take about 5 minutes to cook down. I'm going to let it cook about 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'll add in our sun-dried tomatoes. I know that seems like a ton of black pepper, but this is kind of a wonky little pepper grinder, so it's not really that much. It seemed like a lot, but it's not really that much. I do like a lot of black pepper, but that was probably about, well, I guess that is a lot. It's probably about a teaspoon of black pepper. It smells amazing in here. I'm going to take about half a cup of this pasta water before I drain it and put it right into our tomatoes for our sauce. And I'm going to add our beautiful sun-dried tomatoes. And I have here for the very end, I'll wait till the very end to put the fresh basil in. So we'll set that aside there. And I'm just going to drain this pasta. Let me give it a quick check. It should be just about perfect. It's very hot. Perfect. Let me get this drained, and we'll be ready to have dinner. Okay, and I'm just going to add the drained pasta right in there with the sauce. How pretty does that look? It looks so good. Just going to let this cook in there with the sauce for just a minute or two while all the flavors get combined, and we will plate it up. Okay, this looks and smells amazing. Just going to put this in the bowl here. Okay, I cleaned up a little bit and got our pasta all in the bowl, and it just looks beautiful. A perfect summer pasta. So go in with our fresh basil. That smells really, really good. I said I was making this for 2 people. I think I could eat this whole bowl of pasta by myself. And since it's got all those veggies, I don't think that would be too bad, would it? Okay, beautiful. And I'm just going to top it with a little bit of our breadcrumbs and spice with our fresh parsley. And that looks amazing. I need to get a fork and try this. Oh, this is going to be good. I'm going to try not to burn my mouth, which I'm very bad about, by the way. Get a little bit greedy when it comes to pasta. Mm. Those sun-dried tomatoes and fresh basil just make the meal. I mean, this is perfect for summer. I think I'll probably be having this weekly. I might try and do a raw version also with just the zucchini noodles. I think that'll be really good too. Man, I hope you try this or a version of it. What's for dinner tonight? I'm glad you asked. It's a staple I think everybody should have on their list to make at least once or twice a month, and that's veggie burgers. But not just any veggie burgers, super simple, super healthy black bean burgers. These are delicious. It's only a few ingredients and some spices. We'll cook them right in the oven and they will be awesome. So I just have 2 cups of black beans. You could use 2 cans. Actually, this is about 2.5 cups cooked of black beans. I cooked mine on the stovetop. You can do them in the Instapot, or you can just use a couple of cans of black beans. Just make sure you rinse and drain them. So I have these ready to go. I have 2/3 of a cup of oat flour and 1/3 of a cup of oats. So to start, I have 1 tablespoon of ground flax. And this is going to act as our binder. And instead of water to make the flax egg, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of low sodium soy sauce. And while I mash my beans up, we'll just let this kind of hang out and get ready to go in there. Okay, and for my spices, I have some beetroot powder. This is great, and the oven's ready. This is great to add to any veggie burger or seitan deli slices or sausages. It gives just a certain richness, and also it adds some iron to your dish also. So I love putting this in my veggie burgers. I have some mushroom powder, ground mustard, garlic powder, onion powder, smoked paprika, and salt and pepper. And that's it. So we just need to combine everything up, form it into patties, and get it in the oven. So I'll just start by mashing up my black beans. And if you have a food processor, this would be a great place to use it. Mine is still in storage. My dear sweet husband went and found the dehydrator for me that was in storage so I could start using that again, but we haven't quite dug the food processor out yet. So it only takes a couple minutes. We'll mash these by hand. Give my shoulder a little workout. It's okay. All right, and once these are to about the consistency that we want, I don't like mine like smashed or pulverized into a total mush, but do it how you like. And in this bowl, I just have a little bit of cornstarch that is left over from my crispy jalapenos I'm going to top my burgers with, and I will link that video. I'll be posting that also. So we're just going to go into a large mixing bowl with our beans. And you can see I left a little bit of bean liquid in mine just to help hold this together. If it's too wet, you can always add a little bit more oat flour or a little bit of cornstarch. So I'll go in with my spices and my oats and oat flour and my flax egg, and just give this a mix, and we'll see where we are, and we'll just get this formed into patties and get these in the oven. So I have a parchment lined baking tray here, and I'm just going to wet my hands in some cold water. This is a kind of a sticky mixture, so this helps it not to stick. And I'm going to form about probably 6 patties. And you can make these as small or as big as you want. If you're feeding kids, you can make some little ones. If you're feeding my husband, you can make some really big ones. I'm making these a little bit on the larger side. My buns are kind of small, so I think it'll be okay though. And you can make them flat or thick. Make them how you like them, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Our burgers are out of the oven and smelling amazing. Very hot, very hot. Okay. Let me get a little better situated here before I hurt myself. Okay. They are looking really good. They're nice and crispy on the outside and nice and tender. You can feel them, and they're still firm enough to hold together. They're not going to just crumble apart. So that's what we're looking for, and that's what the flax egg will do for you. So let's make a burger. I have just some homemade burger buns. Use whatever kind of burger bun that you like. This is just a very simple bread recipe that is no oil, no sugar. It's just yeast, flour, and water, basically. And it comes together for a pretty decent bread. And Tony's already snacked on some of that, and he approved. He said it was great. It'd be great for the burgers. So I have my buns. Use whatever kind of bun you like, a gluten-free bun, or there are some really good sprouted seed buns and organic ones at the store. Ezekiel makes a bun. Dave's Killer Bread makes a bun, which are both really good. So I've got my burger bun, and to go on top, I have the regular stuff, some onion, some lettuce, and tomato. But I also have something pretty great, which I will link the short video to, which are these air fryer crispy fried jalapenos, which will just change your burger. I mean, they're really good. I think we ate about half of them just snacking on them. So if you do make the recipe, make sure you double or triple the batch so you'll have plenty, because they make an awesome snack. And I have a burger sauce, and this is just some vegan mayo, nutritional yeast, hot sauce, a little bit of jalapeno pepper brine out of the jar, and some garlic powder. And this is great for the black bean burger. It's really good on anything. It's going to be good for my little sweet potato fries I have here also. So let's build a burger. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit more of this sauce, and you could go with just the regular ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise. Also delicious on the black bean burger. I just wanted to try these. I thought it sounded amazing. I originally thought, well, I'll fry up some crispy onions, and then I thought, it's black bean burgers. It already has all of those flavors in it. Some fried jalapenos would be really awesome, and I'm so glad I did it. Okay, I'm just going to hit my tomato with a little salt and a little fresh cracked pepper. I think that's important on any burger or sandwich that you salt and pepper your tomato. Got my lettuce here. And some of my onion and some crispy fried jalapenos. Lots of these, in fact. Okay, let's see if I can smash this flat enough to fit it in my mouth. My older brothers always told me I had a big mouth, so let's go. Let's see. Oh, look at it. It looks so juicy. Mmm. Sorry if my face is a mess. This is definitely delicious. Definitely give this super easy veggie burger a try. Way better than anything you're going to find in the store, I promise. Chop, 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 chop. All right, we're rolling right through the week. This week has flown by. Feels like summer is flying by. I don't know how to feel about that. I love summer. It's my season. I love to be out in the garden all day. I love to go to the lake and kayak. I love hot runs on trails any time of day or even at night. I just love summer. Um, Maybe someday I'll get to move somewhere where it's tropical and I don't have to deal with winter at all. Anyway, that's just a little rant about how much I'm enjoying this summer weather. But I am super hungry today. Worked really hard the last couple of days out in the yard and with our outside project. But I felt like tonight would be a good night for a really comforting meal. So I'm going to show you a vegan shepherd's pie. Really easy, really filling. And again, you can adjust this. Tonight, I'm just making it for two people or one person and some leftovers. Or you could double it or triple it and make a huge pan of it. I'm just making a small pan tonight for my husband and I. And it's pretty simple. We're going to start with the ingredients for the ground meat replacement. Now you could just use like an Impossible or Beyond ground or some kind of veggie sausage, whatever is your favorite one to use. But whenever possible, I like to use whole foods. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with eating those things. Those things are fine. I just don't like to eat them all the time. They've got a lot of saturated fat in them, even though it's, still plant-based. Better for you than an animal product, I'm sure. But this is just a whole foods version that's pretty lean and very tasty. So the only ingredients that go into it are I have some mushrooms that I've chopped that I'm chopping. This fly is distracting me. We might have to do something about him. So I have some mushrooms, about 2 cups I'm going to chop. I have some walnuts, and my oven is preheated. I have some walnuts that I have just chopped up, about 2/3 of a cup of walnuts that I've chopped up, and they're just soaking in some hot water and soy sauce. And I'm just going to keep that liquid in there to kind of deglaze the pan as we cook. And I have about a cup of diced yellow onion, or one small yellow onion. I have a veggie bouillon cube, some mushroom powder, and I have some riced cauliflower. Now, if you have a food processor, you can just put your cauliflower, your mushroom, your onion, and your walnuts all in there and pulse that up till it's a texture that you like. But again, no food processor here besides me. I'm the processor. So I'm chopping this up. And I also have 1 clove of garlic. So I'm just going to get this chopped up and ready to go in the pan, and we will get cooking. Okay, everything is nice and chopped up. I'm going to go in first with the diced onion. I thought my pan was a little bit hotter than that. I didn't hear any sizzle. That's okay, we'll get there. And I just have my cast iron skillet over medium to high heat, and I'm not using any oil. You could use a little bit of oil here if you like, avocado oil or whatever kind of oil you prefer. I'm just going to cook down these onions just a little bit before I add the garlic and mushroom and the rest of the ingredients. Okay, these have cooked down till they're just nice and tender. I'm going to go ahead and add all of these chopped mushrooms. Let those release a little bit of their water. Now, with the frozen cauliflower, it's going to have some water in it too. So it'll need to cook down a little bit longer than a fresh cauliflower. So if you're using fresh, it might go a little bit quicker for you. But we'll get that in there. Give this a little mix around. Let these mushrooms cook down just a minute. Okay, so that's about what we're looking for there. Our mushrooms have cooked down a good bit. I'm just going to make an area here in the middle. I'm going to put in that chopped clove of garlic. Oh, that smells good. And my tomato paste. And this is going to give it some richness in flavor. But what you have to do for the tomato paste is really cook it down like for a couple of minutes till it turns like a really dark brick red color. Maroon, I guess. So what we're going for, we want it to really darken up, impart all of that really good, rich flavor. All right, that is looking good. And I'm going to go in with my veggie bouillon cube, break that up a little bit. And the water in this cauliflower is going to help dissolve that bouillon cube. So we'll get this going. I'm just going to hit this with a little bit of salt. Little bit, right? Hey, I've been sweating outside all day. I need that salt. And a good bit of fresh cracked black pepper. And our mushroom powder. This is a really good one. It's just dehydrated ground mushrooms, different kinds. Has a really good concentrated mushroom flavor, just gives it some of that umami. And I'm going in with like about a good tablespoon of that. This is also really great for making gravies. Any kind of brown gravy you like to make, that is really great for that. After that's cooked down for a couple minutes and we have that all incorporated in there, look at this. How good does that look? It smells amazing too. And I'm telling you, if you haven't tried to make your own ground replacement, this is a great go-to recipe. It's great for tacos, spaghetti, nachos, sloppy joes, anywhere you would use ground beef or, you know, the other meat substitutes. This is really great. And you can see it comes together really quick and is all really affordable ingredients. Some of those ground beef replacements, if you're just transitioning, they're great, but they can be kind of expensive too. This is not expensive at all. So I just am going to now put in my soaked chopped walnuts that we're soaking in the soy sauce. And the walnuts add a little bit of texture, but they also add some richness and just the right amount of a little bit of fat, which is what we're looking for in there, so it can be nice and satisfying. And, you know, look at it. It just looks amazing. It looks so good. And it is. It's so good, and it's good for you. Very good for you. Walnuts are so heart healthy, and you have all of the fiber and all of those good mushrooms in there. Good stuff. Really good stuff. So I'm just going in with about a cup of frozen peas. And those really just need to, those are going to heat through in the oven, so we just need to mix those in. And here I have just a little bit of cornstarch with water to thicken the gravy up a little bit. Make it kind of stick together. If you don't want to use cornstarch or flour, you can also just use a little bit of ground flaxseed and some water. Okay, this looks good. I'm going to take this off the heat. We'll get this on the bowl and get our mashed potatoes on top. All right, I have my little dish here, and I have just 2 potatoes, pretty small potatoes that I just baked, and I peeled most of the skin off, not all of it, and I'm just hitting this with a little bit of unsweetened almond milk. This is the almond milk that I make, and it's just almonds, dates, salt, and filtered water, and it's delicious. So I'll just mash that up in there. Use your favorite mashed potato recipe. And I like mine to be, what do they call it, rustic? I like them a little bit chunky. I don't like them super, super smooth. But I've seen a lot of recipes that use just instant mashed potatoes on the top, and that's fine too. Just buy the ones that are just dehydrated potato flakes. No weird ingredients in there. I just want to dig in right now. It looks so good. Okay, I'm just going to fill my dish up here. And I'm going to have leftovers of this, so I'll probably use it in like some tacos, or I might even put it in the freezer. I might make 2 of these and just put one in the freezer. This makes a great freezer meal or a meal prep meal. You can just put it together, and then when you're ready to eat, just pop it in the oven. Y'all, I gotta try a bite. Mmm. It's really good. I cannot wait to have a plate of this. And I think while I put this in the oven, I'm going to just pop some broccoli in the air fryer to have as a side with this. So let me get a spoon. All right, we've got our delicious mashed potatoes here, which I also had to taste. You know, I had to make sure they're okay. They're definitely okay. They're really good. I have to stop myself from eating the entire bowl. Like I said, I'm so hungry today. I just feel like I could just sit and eat this whole bowl of mashed potatoes, which wouldn't be bad. It's only 2 potatoes and a little bit of plant milk, so I'm sure I'd be fine to do that. I know potatoes kind of get a bad rap, you know, like they're not healthy or something. They're actually really super good for you, especially with the skin on. They're high in potassium, they're low fat. They're great for you, actually. Okay, I'm just going to get this in the oven. And since everything is really pre-cooked already, we're not trying to cook anything here. I've got my oven at 425, and we just want to kind of brown the top and give everything a chance to kind of come together. So it'll only be in there about 10 minutes. Okay, our shepherd's pie is out of the oven, still pretty hot. I did let it sit for just a couple of minutes. Our top is nice and toasted up, got a few little crispy places on it. I'm just going to hit it with some fresh cracked black pepper and some fresh parsley. And we are going to have a plate. Tony says he's also hungry. Are you trying the vegan shepherd's pot pie? He says, yeah, he's trying it. Oh, It's really hot. Oh, that looks really good. Okay. Let me give this a try. It's really hot. It looks really good though. It smells really good. Mmm. It's delicious. I hope you guys give it a try. We made it to Friday, so yay! If you stuck around with me this far, I really appreciate you hanging out with me, and I'm going to jump right into this delicious recipe. Friday nights, traditionally for a lot of families, are takeout nights. You got pizza, Chinese, Thai food. One of my favorites is Indian food. I love Indian food. They have a lot of vegetarian and vegan options. And you can get things super spicy and delicious. That's why I love it. A variety of stuff. But it can be very complicated to make yourself at home. So what I have here tonight is a very easy one pot chickpea and sweet potato curry. It's delicious, it's not complicated. We're gonna throw everything in one pot. The ingredients are all pretty familiar. There might be a couple of spices that you don't have in your pantry, but those are optional. You can just go with just a pre-mixed curry powder or curry paste and make this super easy. But I have my own way of putting things in there. Like I said, I like my stuff really spicy, so I do like to add some extra spicy peppers. So let me tell you about the spice blend, which is the first thing we'll get going. And we're going to do this oil-free. Traditionally, most Indian dishes start with oil that you'll toast your spices and seeds in. We're keeping it oil-free, so we're just going to toast these in with a little bit of tomato paste. But what I have here, of course, is just salt and pepper to start with. I have some veggie stock powder, some garlic powder, onion powder. I have some curry powder. I have an extra spicy curry powder and some garam masala. I also have some turmeric, some sweet paprika, some smoked paprika, some cayenne pepper, and some cumin. So those are the spices that we need. And the other ingredients, we're just going to pour right in the pan along with that too. So I have one cut up sweet potato in about 1/2 inch cubes. I have 1 can of chickpeas, which I've drained and rinsed, and 1 can of hominy, which I have drained and rinsed. Now, hominy isn't traditional in Indian food. I know you're thinking that and saying, what? But let me tell you, it adds a really good bite and just a distinct flavor in there, which I think is just delicious in a curry. You could sub this out for a can of lentils if you prefer that. And I have a can of full fat coconut milk, which I've just stirred up, and some tomato paste. Those are our ingredients, and all we need to do to get started is I have warmed my pan up. I also have a little bit of water here that we'll probably add. I've got my pan nice and warm, and I'm just going to go in with a good amount of tomato paste. We used about half of this in a recipe earlier in the week, so I'll just use the rest in here. And we just want to get that going and get that kind of browning up, cook out that canned tomato flavor and get the richness and umami out of that tomato paste. Okay, and I'm just going to go in with all of my spices all at once. And in the description box, I'll put the measurements for all of these spices that I put in. But like I said, you could also, you don't want to breathe that in, you could also just use a tomato curry paste or a premixed curry powder. Okay, that has cooked down until it's like almost dry, and you can really smell those spices in there. I'm just going to hit this and deglaze it with a little bit of water. And you do not want to breathe this steam in, especially if you make it extra spicy like I do. Okay, just kind of break that up, a little bit more water. And I had veggie stock powder in with the spices. You could just use veggie stock here in place of water if you like. Okay, and I don't know if I mentioned at the beginning, I also have a cup of frozen peas that we'll put in at the end. So now we'll just go in first with our chickpeas. And it smells amazing. And our hominy. And this makes a lot, which I don't mind, and it's great for meal prep because the longer it sits, the better it tastes. Okay, and our sweet potatoes. And we'll just get this all mixed in, nice and mixed up. And we are going to bring it to a simmer and then turn it down to low. And then we'll add some coconut milk at the end after our sweet potatoes have cooked. And we'll add some coconut milk and our frozen peas. All right, this has been simmering away for about 30 minutes and our sweet potatoes are nice and tender. All of the flavors have developed in there, and I'm just going to add about half of this can of coconut milk, maybe not even half. And after you open the coconut milk, you'll want to stir it up. And if you want a lighter option versus the full fat coconut milk, you could also use light coconut milk or soy milk to give it that creaminess, but this is so delicious. Look how rich and creamy that is. There is just nothing quite like the creaminess that the full fat coconut milk gives to the dish. So, all right, I'll just stir that through, and now I'm gonna go in with my frozen peas, and we'll just let that kind of heat through. We don't need to cook the peas, we just need to warm them up, get all of that incorporated, turn the heat all the way down to low or even off, because we don't want the fat in the coconut milk to break and separate. That's why we wait to the end to add it there. And also you could just add a little bit to your individual bowls while you eat it if you want to leave the plant milk out altogether. But coconut milk is traditional, and that's what I prefer to use. So we'll let this hang out for 4 or 5 minutes and we will be ready to eat. And I am just serving this with some fluffy white rice. You could also do quinoa or amaranth, buckwheat, brown rice, wild rice, whatever you like. If you have a couple hours and you're making this on the weekend or have a little bit more time, some coconut and cashew rice is really good with this too. And I'll be saving the rest of my coconut milk for a few nice matcha lattes. This is great with matcha. Okay, just going to serve this up. And I have just a little bit of fresh cilantro for the top there. You could also just use parsley if you're not a cilantro fan like I am. Doesn't that look amazing? Let's give this a try. That is so hearty and satisfying. It hits all the notes. Spicy, sweet, salty. Oh, it's great. I'm going to go enjoy this delicious bowl of food. Like I said, I'll leave the recipes and all the measurements in the description box, along with a few links that I may have mentioned during the video. Again, I just want to say thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you sticking around with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the next video. I'll see you next time. Bye.